Hello again, everybody. Jim Hickey here on this nice Tuesday evening. Nice and clear outside. Rather cool, but it is February after all. About a half hour, 45 minutes before Mike Klingler's next webinar. I'm looking forward to that. But I wanted to kind of hop on and do a quick video relative to another video that I actually saw today from Michelle McPherson, who is one of the social media type buffs, and been watching some of her stuff for a while now. Including things like Media Myth, and Social Media Daily. Got some really good points in there. But at any rate, the video that she had released, actually I think it was a day or so ago, that I finally got around to watching today. Been kind of busy. But at any rate, what really got my attention was the fact that she started off with the title Google Slap. And it's always going to get your attention. Uh-oh, what now? And so she launches right into the fact to remind everybody that over the last several months, Google has slapped AdWords a couple of times now, I think. One recently, it seems people ran into some problems during the PPC domination launch when they were getting their new AdWord campaigns going. But I also seem to remember it being an issue several months ago. So that was one thing. The other thing she talked about was the Squidoo slap, which I found kind of interesting because I had an impression that that had happened, at least to some degree. Because I know when I first started doing this, and one of the first things they have you do when you join Renegade Pro is put together a Squidoo lens, or 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and try to do it the right way and build your skill up over time. And at that time, when you're going through the training, of course, you're putting together your thing, but you're also checking out other people's things. And as you were doing searches, there seemed to be still quite a few number of Squidoo lenses that were popping up in the rankings. But of late, I haven't seen that many. So I kind of wondered if something had happened. And according to her, they did get slapped, and their overall domain ranking was dropped down, which has affected people's ranking overall. Now, that's not to say that nobody with a Squidoo lens is going to get ranked. That's totally not the case. As a matter of fact, I know I've done some search on some things that Mike's done, Mike Klingler. His ranked real well. Recently, Pat Campbell actually did one for Ian Sieg's forthcoming Attraction Marketers Manifesto. Pretty good Squidoo lens last weekend. And I noticed that by, I think, Monday, it was already up on the first page of Google, if not right near or at, well, I think within the top 2 or 3 spots. Or at the lead. I mean, really up close to the top. So, obviously Squidoo gets there. It just doesn't seem like it gets there as much as it used to, I guess was the point. So, that kind of started to hit home. And then the next thing she says is, the next target rumored to be, or people are starting to see evidence of, is certain aspects of social media. And it really becomes a factor when individual people do their own social bookmarking and those types of activities, and Google catches on with it, and things are repeated and so forth and so on. That could end up hurting you in the long run, and especially if you do it consistently from the same source. See, one of the things you pointed out was actually something that Mike points out pretty early in your days in Renegade Pro. Is when you're starting to generate content, you want to start to distribute that content, new content, different content, amongst many different of these, outgoing resources. So you just don't want to concentrate on Squidoo. You just don't want to concentrate on e-zine articles. You just don't want to concentrate on hub pages. You actually want to get some of your stuff out in all these different venues, if you will, and create your true web of content. And then when you take the time to learn a little bit about how to appropriately backlink things and to your main central hub, which should be your blog or something like that, you're ultimately, in the long run, as you build up that presence and it's dispersed over all these places and other people are finding it and also linking to it, your presence, your ranking on Google is going to increase. So that's pretty cool. She had that same message and it just kind of resounded with me instantly because it's one of the first things I learned from Mike, basically, when I started to do this several months ago. So that was pretty cool. The other thing that really resounded with me real quickly was she chimed in and says, and if you're going to be blogging, which you should be blogging, you should be self-hosting your blog. You should be doing this on your own domain. I found that out the hard way now, didn't I? I mean, for anybody who's been familiar about anything I've been doing lately, a week and a half ago, well, almost 2 weeks ago now, I suddenly had my old blog, the plug pulled by WordPress.com because they thought it was over promotional. Okay, I'm not going to argue, can't argue. I don't have any recourse. I'm in the process of regenerating a new blog on my own domain, so I control it. Yes, it's on a WordPress platform using their program, but it's not on their server, so it's totally my control. Fortunately, I did have a lot of that old content backed up, so I'm in the process of regenerating that as we speak. But that's another one of her little messages that again kind of resounds with things that I've been learning, either at Renegade or in other places. I mean, I've been told that as long as I was working on WordPress.com, I was kind of at risk. I thought I was playing it safe. I thought I was being 90+%, value content oriented and very little promotion going on. I thought I was safe. Excuse me. That wasn't the case. So, 2 messages should be taken forward from this little thing. 1. You want a web of content. You want it across multiple platforms, okay? And you want to make it original content. Okay? You don't want to just put the same piece of content across all these different platforms. That's something else that Google is starting to catch up with. Okay? 2, if you're going to get serious, big time into blogging, and especially if you're going to use it as your central hub, you really want to be thinking seriously about how you're going to do it and about going to the trouble of learning how to self-host it, okay, on your own domain, something like WordPress. There's enough free resources out there to help you try to do that, or at least low-cost resources. So, it's easy, but I'm not going to say it's easy enough to do. It takes time, it takes energy, and a little more effort than going out to one of these free resources, but still worth it in the long run. At any rate, I hope you found it useful. Again, those things just resounded with me nice and clearly today, so I wanted to get that out there. Have a good night. Talk to you again soon.